What do a football club in England, which was recently bought for $5.25 billion, McDonald's and Starbucks and other franchises in Russia, Ford shuttering its manufacturing plant in India, Russia stopping its gas supply to Europe, and an Indian Maharaja buying a bunch of expensive Rolls-Royce have in common? They are all examples of the perils and the risk of doing business internationally. In this video, we will talk about the different strategic options that companies have when they want to enter international markets. And we will also discuss the risks and rewards associated with each of these market entry strategies. So we will move from the least riskiest of the market entry strategies and then move up to the most riskiest strategy. So the least risky strategy of entering a foreign market is simply to export your products. Now there might be marketing intermediaries that will buy your product to sell in foreign market. For example, a Nepalese distributor may buy a bunch of Rolls-Royce to be sold in Nepal. As an exporter, your risk is minimal since you already get payment for the product. A company using export strategy may not concern itself with any marketing related expenses unless they want to export in a huge volume. As such, it is a strategy preferred by smaller businesses due to its low cost. However, the downside is that you have no control once the product leaves your hand. If the importer does something to harm your brand, there is nothing you can do. A funny example of this is a story of an Indian Maharaja. I'm not sure whether the story is true or not, but the Indian Maharaja and Rolls-Royce. Apparently, while dressed in ordinary clothes during his visit to England, the Rolls-Royce salespeople did not realize who this person was and treated him rudely. The Maharaja subsequently bought all the Rolls-Royce available in the showroom and then took them to India, where he used them to collect garbage. Now, this is a really bad thing for the brand image of Rolls-Royce. So here we can see that the brand, once the product has sold, has no control. So while exporting is the least risky strategy, it is also a strategy with the least amount of control. The next strategy to enter a foreign market is licensing, or a version of licensing called franchising. Licensing and franchising are similar in that the company receives a royalty or a fee by allowing the licensor or franchisor to use the parent company's intellectual properties such as trademarks, patents, business processes, etc. Licensing is generally common for the manufacturing goods, while franchising is an option for service industries. Now, fast food giants such as McDonald's, Starbucks, Burger Kings are famous for their franchise models both here in the United States as well as in the international market. Coca-Cola, many beverage brands also license their brands and products all over the world, where local companies using established processes will sell these branded products using local manufacturing facilities and paying the companies a manufacturing fee or licensing fee. A licensor and a franchisor has more control than an exporter because there are agreements and contracts in place that determine what the other party can and cannot do. However, there is still some risk in that a brand partner might cause harm to the brand. Let's look at a recent problem. After Russia invaded Ukraine, a lot of companies decided to leave Russia, including Burger King. Now, Burger King decided to suspend its operation in Russia, but the operators refused to close the stores. So while there is more control as a licensor, there is also higher risks. Now, another strategy for entering a foreign market is strategic alliance or joint ventures. Now, strategic alliances are formed when two companies get together and decide to work together for mutual benefits. Now, joint venture is different than strategic alliance in the sense that in a joint venture, the two parties get together to form a new business entity. Now, this does not happen in a strategic alliance. Some examples of strategic alliance in the United States are Starbucks and Target, Red Bull and GoPro, T-Mobile and Taco Bell. In a joint venture, as partners of a new entity, both parties will share responsibilities. control profit as well as losses. Companies generally like alliances and joint ventures in international markets because they may lack local expertise and knowledge. So, an alliance or a joint venture with a local company in a foreign country would benefit both the foreign parties as well as the market entering company. Also, foreign governments might be more welcoming if there is a local partner that is involved. Some countries might have explicit rules and regulations that companies intending to create a joint venture must follow and have local partners. An example of joint venture is when BMW formed a joint venture with a Chinese automobile manufacturer called Brilliance Auto Group to form a new entity, BMW Brilliance. The two companies agreed to form a joint venture by investing 450 million euros each, with BMW holding 50%. Now, since you are investing money in a joint venture and have stakes, you will have more control in a joint venture than you do while licensing or exporting. However, there is also a high risk in that the investment that you have put in might be lost. The joint venture's failure will result in a loss of assets. Also, another party engaged in the joint venture might cheat or engage in opportunistic behavior. Government intervention might harm the foreign party and its investment as well. So while the level of control is higher because you invested money, the risk is also higher for joint venture. Now, the strategy in which you have the most control but also is the most riskiest is direct investments. Now, here you have maximum control over your business and marketing operations. You get 100% stakes, but you also get 100% of the risk. So, for example, let's just look at Chelsea Football Club and its owner, Roman Abramovich. Abramovich was a wonderful owner for the club and put in more than 1.5 billion pounds into the club on top of the 300 million he paid to buy the club in 2003. The club, through his investment, became very, very successful throughout the last 2 decades. They were doing really well. Then suddenly Russia invaded Ukraine. The government around the world decided to seize the assets of Russian oligarchs. One of those oligarchs happened to be Roman Abramovich. The UK government decided to seize his assets. Abramovich lost all the investment he had made in Chelsea over the last 2 decades. The football club was sold at a price of over $5.25 billion, and Abramovich did not even see a penny of that. Another example is Cuba's seizure of American properties in Cuba. When Fidel Castro took over Cuba, his government confiscated the properties worth more than $2 billion of American citizens in 1961. So, if you have direct investment in a foreign country, you bear the most risk because it can go poof in a moment. But of course, if everything is fine, you also maintain the most control and take all of the profit as well as the losses. So, in this video, we learned about the 4 market entry strategies for global expansion, their advantages as well as their disadvantages. Please let me know if you like the video. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.